a.m. Let's go, boys. We're recording right now. I told y'all I'm gonna be consistent with this YouTube shit, posting every single day. Y'all thought I was lying, bro, just because I missed like 2 days, 3 days, maybe 4 days, maybe 6, 7. I'm just playing, bro. We gonna watch this video though. How the internet cracked the 30. Hey yo! All right, let's just watch this shit.
This eerie sketch of a woman, her identity, a mystery that police tried and failed for decades to solve. That was until one dedicated, bordering on obsessed internet sleuth finally cracked the case.
I'm telling y'all now, bro, y'all do not want to mess with the internet. The motherfuckers who just stay on the internet all day, those are the most dangerous. To be honest, you see the direction the future is going to, everything's more online. Everything, currency, dating market, jobs, like everything's going towards online, bro. These motherfuckers are dangerous.
With a horrifying discovery on the night of May 17th, 1968, in Georgetown, Kentucky, a well digger named Wilbur Riddle was walking around Route US 25 while he waited for his boss to show up. He was scanning the ground for discarded telephone pole insulators.
Bro, y'all know how I feel about the scary shit too, so I'm doing this shit for you guys.
But then, something unusual caught his eye.
Super pussy.
Amid the scattered glass
I'm mad pussy.
Debris, a large, oddly shaped bundle reflected
all my shit my pants while watching this, but it's worth it for you guys.
Strange, he thought, moving in for a closer look. Curious, he nudged the bundle with his foot, sending it rolling down the embankment. But when his foot touched the bundle, instead of feeling hard like scrap metal or some other trash, it felt soft, too soft.
Hey,
the tarp
yo!
unraveled slightly as it tumbled, and for a brief moment, Wilbur thought it might be a dead animal. However, a dread crept into his gut, and so he forced himself to step closer and investigate. He prodded the bundle again, and this time, it felt harder. Focusing his eyes on that spot, the hairs on the back of his neck stood up, and his throat tightened.
Oh my god, it's a person.
Slowly dawned on him. It appeared to be a human leg.
Dog. Yo, imagine you just come across a fucking dead human body. Yo, I would actually be traumatized for years.
Gas station, which was 2 miles away. There, he frantically called the authorities about his discovery. Shortly after, Sheriff Bobby Vance, along with Deputy Jimmy Williams and Coroner Kenneth Grant,
damn, how long ago was this? Black and white? Are we dead ass, dude?
As is protocol, they asked
We're done with the 90s, buddy.
In the backwoods of town. For which he replied that he was an assistant well digger and that he, along with his boss, were hired on a drilling project nearby. He stated that since his boss left a note that he was going to be late and that he shouldn't start without him, he thought it was a good opportunity to scrounge up sellable parts. After the initial questioning, the police asked Wilbur to show them where he discovered the alleged body. As soon as they arrived, an overwhelming stench filled the air, a smell that left no doubt about what lay ahead. Cutting open the fabric, they uncovered the body of a woman in an advanced state of decomposition, laid bare before the horrified officers. Upon initial investigation, they were unable to identify the victim, as she had no personal belongings to reveal her name, only what seemed to be a small towel draped over her shoulder with no notable identifying marks, and thus, authorities gave her a haunting name, Tent Girl. A reference to the fact that the green canvas that her body was wrapped in was a fabric often used to make tents at the time. No other physical evidence was found at the crime scene to provide investigators with a solid lead. With the initial investigation complete, the body was taken to St. Joseph Hospital in Lexington. There, Dr. James McClellan undertook the unenviable task of determining how this young woman met her tragic end. The autopsy report detailed that the victim was approximately 5 feet 1 inch tall and weighed around 110 pounds. She had reddish-brown hair, a noticeable gap between her front teeth, and was estimated to be in her late teens. To make matters even more difficult,
it's actually really impressive how like forensic motherfuckers find out how people died. That's actually incredibly impressive.
Challenging to produce an accurate sketch, as the discoloration of the eyes and the altered shape
Jesus,
of the nose
this is giving me a headache. What the heck?
It was one of the worst hands an investigator could be dealt, the last thing they want in such a gruesome case. It was approximated that she had been dead for anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. No bullet wounds, stab wounds, or signs of strangulation were found. Due to the body's advanced decomposition, the specific events leading to her death by asphyxiation could not be confirmed. Investigators theorize that Tent Girl may have been struck on the head with a blunt object, rendering her dazed or unconscious. The killer then wrapped her body tightly in the green tarp she was found in, securing both ends and dumping her over the embankment. Trapped inside the tarp, unable to move, see, or call for help in her weakened state. It was believed that the likely cause of death was asphyxiation. A detailed sketch by
Oh my
Covington Patrolman
God,
Harold
bro.
Musser was later released to
Jesus,
the public
dog, get
in
that
the
shit
hope
off
someone
my
would recognize the
screen.
young woman. With no other leads,
Oh my
police
God,
could
please,
only
please, please,
figure
please, please,
out
please, please, stop, bro.
that some
Oh my God, bro. I'm sorry, rest in peace, but God, bro, that shit was fucking terrifying. If y'all watch AOT, bro, if y'all watch Attack on Titan, y'all know exactly what she looks like, bro. She looks like the Smiling Titan. Rest in peace, though. Rest in peace, though. I'm not making fun of her, but damn, bro. That was the fucking worst sketch I ever seen in my life. There's no way she looked like that. Y'all did her bad. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all did her dirty.
one would come forward to identify Tent Girl. If not, she might become just another name lost in the shuffle of unsolved cases. On top of that,
Jesus, that shit
there was a
fucking
killer out there
scared
on the
me.
loose who, for all they knew, could strike again.
Imagine her just
But if
looking
they could
down on this
identify
shit, bro,
the
and that's her
victim,
sketch, and she
perhaps
looks
it would lead them on a
absolutely nothing
trail
like
to the
that. Oh
killer.
yeah, no, y'all did her.
Immediately after Tent Girl's
Please,
sketch
bro.
was released to the public, more than a dozen people
the
arrived
love.
at the Frankfurt police station, wondering if she was their missing loved
Like,
one.
imagine they just
Unfortunately
plaster
or
shit all over
fortunately,
town and on the news, bro. I would
each
literally shit
person
my
left either
pants. No
disappointed
offense.
or
Rest in
with
peace.
renewed hope that their loved one could still be out there, alive and well. In the weeks that followed, police received over 100 calls, each one carrying a desperate voice on the other end of the line. Out of all these potential leads, only 3 showed promise.
Sorry, guys. You know, bro. We gotta deal with the ads. You know, bro.
The first was the case
Jesus
of Loretta
Christ,
Jean
dog.
Slessor,
Alright,
who was
chill,
reported
bro.
missing by her family about a year before the discovery of Tent Girl. A recent update to her case was a reported sighting in Florence.
need a blanket. I'm actually about to shit myself, bro.
From Georgetown. Loretta, who would have been around 16 at the time, matched the description almost to a T, even down to the cavities in her 2 upper front teeth. Miss Slessor's mother was asked to travel to Frankfurt to meet with the state detective in charge of the investigation and provide more details. However, during the interview, it was revealed that Miss Slessor was 5 feet 4 inches tall and not 5 feet 1 inch like the unidentified victim. This immediately took the wind out of the mother and the detective's sails. And then there was no significant update for the Slessor case that we could find. Unfortunately, it seems that she may have become another statistic in the hundreds of unsolved
bro,
missing
rest in
person cases
peace.
locked away in dusty file cabinets. Fortunately, the Tent Girl case would not share the same fate, at least not forever. The second major lead in the investigation pointed to a missing girl from Pasadena named Debbie Crane, last seen on March 3, 1968. Witnesses reported seeing her with 2 men, her boyfriend Carl Colby and his older brother Floyd Colby. This lead came from Detective Sergeant Miller of the Maryland Police, who had come across the Tent Girl case. After seeing the release sketch, he noticed
What
striking
the fuck? It
similarities
just
between
literally
Tent Girl
changed.
and Debbie Crane. Miller reached out to Chief Detective Lieutenant Algan Roberts in Kentucky, who immediately cross-referenced Crane's description with Tent Girls, and the similarities were too significant to ignore. Lieutenant Roberts requested that Sergeant Miller escort Debbie's family to Georgetown for an official identification. On June 13, 1968, Debbie's aunt, Velma Crane, made the difficult trip. It was undoubtedly a long and stressful journey, her mind likely plagued by the dreadful possibility of confirming her worst fears. For 2 grueling hours, Velma examined autopsy images, searching for any familiar feature. But with the body badly
Dude, why
decomposed,
are,
she
like,
couldn't positively
why are we
identify
showing feet
Tent
right
Girl
now?
as her niece.
Freak ass dude, bro.
there was
Holy
hope.
shit.
Debbie's dental records were obtained, and initial comparisons suggested a possible match. Just as it seemed the mystery might finally be solved, an anonymous phone call threw everything into question. A man with a gruff
Oh,
voice
nah, bro.
contacted
Oh,
Sergeant
nah,
Miller,
too, that
insisting
anonymous
that Debbie
music.
Crane was
Too.
alive and well in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Before Miller could ask any questions, the caller abruptly hung up. Determined to verify the claim, Miller traveled to Bradford, and to his surprise, he found Debbie and Carl Colby living comfortably, completely unaware of the chaos unraveling 500 miles away. The couple was brought back to Maryland, where they announced to Debbie's parents their plans to marry. Though this lead ultimately ended in another dead end for Tent Girl, on the flip side, Kentucky police had unintentionally helped reunite a daughter with her family, giving at least one family a happy ending. Just when it seemed like the trail to Tent Girl's identity was growing cold, a new call came in from a distraught mother that could potentially solve this case once and for all. She was searching for her 15-year-old daughter, Doris Dittmar. Based on her description of Doris, it once again seemed highly possible that her daughter could be Tent Girl. Every piece of the puzzle seemed to fall neatly into place, and even without being able to verify the body,
you could have used a different picture. I'm not gonna lie, you really could have used a different
with
picture.
a heavy heart that Tent Girl might actually be her missing daughter. However, just as police were about to release the body to the Ditmars for a proper burial, that prospective door was slammed shut. Doris Ditmar's daughter was found alive and well. As it turned out, she
Damn.
had run away with her boyfriend, frustrated by her mother's constant meddling and nagging about her personal affairs. Another missing daughter who turned out to have only ran away with her boyfriend, leaving the police frustratingly back to square one. These three leads were a bust, so they needed to look at the case from a different angle. Kentucky police uncovered similarities to another murder case in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. The lifeless body of 16-year-old Candace Clothier was found wrapped in a canvas tarp roughly a month prior to the discovery of Tent Girl.
Jesus, bro,
Was
that
it
shit fucking.
possible
Oh my
that
god.
Tent Girl wasn't the first victim of her killer? Both cases involve the body of a young woman.
Yeah, these
found
pictures are
wrapped in a
actually
canvas
fucking
material.
making me want to
While
shit
it
my
can
pants.
certainly be nothing more than pure coincidence, any clue or lead at this point had to be explored by the authorities. A sample of the tarp used in the Clothier case was sent to the Kentucky State Police Department for analysis. When the results came in, investigators were disappointed to find that the lead might have been a red herring. The fabric in the Clothier case turned out to be from a canvas duffel bag, not the tent-like material used in the other case. Moreover, Candace Clothier's death was ruled an accidental drug overdose, further separating the two investigations. The Clothier case proved to another potential dead end for Kentucky police, as while the two canvas materials were similar, nothing else was discovered to further connect the two murder cases. And just like that, Sheriff Bobby Vance and the Kentucky State Police were back to where they started. Once again, Tent Girl remained a distorted face without a name. Over a month had passed since the body's discovery, and the police hotline dedicated to inquiries about the case had gone from receiving hundreds of calls to zero. It appeared that the moment that police dreaded had finally arrived. Tent Girl was soon to become yet another unsolved case to be filed away and forgotten. Unable to shake a sense that Tent Girl's story wasn't over, Harold Muller spent weeks carefully studying images from the autopsy before drawing a
Wait,
new
this looks
sketch
like
of
this actually looks like the
unidentified
90s. I
victim,
didn't even know the
believing it to be a
internet
closer
existed back then.
representation of the young woman's appearance in life.
Wait,
This
the
time,
90s
Muller
had
gave her face
color
a rounder
picture.
shape with less prominent cheekbones. What remained consistent, however, was the cavity in her upper front teeth that caused a noticeable gap. That, Muller pointed out,
It's Boscov's biggest after Christmas sale.
Dude,
Take an
come
extra
on, bro,
15%
you know I'm
off
broke.
our crazy low after Christmas
can afford
prices
YouTube
across all
Premium.
departments.
would be the key detail in identifying the victim. With that, Kentucky police released an updated sketch to the public. Then, the authorities did pretty much the only thing they could think of: sit and wait. Over the next couple of months, the case of Tent Girl slowed down to a crawl. Occasionally, there would be new findings such as forensics being able to lift a partial fingerprint, a painstaking process considering the advanced decomposition
My
of the
God,
body.
what is
However, this new evidence was like uncovering a lone puzzle piece in a sprawling 1,000-piece mystery. It's something, but it wasn't remotely enough to give investigators a direction of where to go next. 8 months passed, and Georgetown officials were no closer to uncovering Tent Girl's identity, let alone finding her killer. By January 1969, authorities were on the
1969?
verge of giving up.
Damn!
In an interview with the Kentucky Post, county attorney and lead investigator Virgil Pryor reluctantly admitted that Tent Girl may never be identified. A few months later, Master Detective, a true crime magazine, published an article about the unsolved case of Tent Girl, hoping to reach a wider audience and generate new leads.
That's
While its
insane. They really had the
publication
internet
initially
back
led
then?
nowhere, what no one could have predicted was that this very issue would become a catalyst for a major breakthrough. Exactly 29 years and 11 months later. As the case went cold, responsibility
Oh,
for
shit.
the investigation fell to the Scott County Sheriff's Office in Kentucky, and over the years, it was passed on from one investigator to another. But with no viable leads, it remained unsolved. And so, buried
Oh my
beneath a
fucking
nameless
God.
tombstone, she was remembered.
Oh my
not
god, that's
by
on
a
the
loving
tombstone.
inscription
Yo,
from
rest
family
in
and
peace,
friends,
but
by
holy
cold,
shit, bro.
clinical details.
They did not
Everything
do
she
your
had been,
sketch
her identity,
justice.
Her story was reduced to words taken from her autopsy report, punctuated by a melancholic declaration. Tent Girl, found May 17, 1968, on U.S. Highway 25 North, died about April 26 to May 3, 1968. Age, about 16 to 19 years. Height, 5 foot 1 inch. Weight, 110 to 115 pounds. Reddish-brown hair, unidentified. And in this limbo is where Tent Girl would remain for the next 3 decades.
Holy
October
sh-
1987.
Yo, why the fuck
Todd
did
Matthews, a 17-year-old
Why did he
factory
just do a
worker, was
voice
on his way
twist?
to meet up with friends to hang out for the evening. With Halloween just around the corner, the group decided to swap scary stories. They shared the usual ghost tales, the kind you would expect around a campfire.
Wait
but
a
then, it
minute.
was Lori Ann's turn. Todd, who was undeniably smitten with her, hung on to every word. But Lori wasn't telling an over-the-top urban legend. No, her story was different. It was real. A gruesome crime that had haunted her own father for years. You see, Lori Ann's full name was Lori Ann Riddle, and her father was Wilbur Riddle, the man who discovered the body of Tent Girl.
The
That night
Riddler.
would set Todd Matthews on a path he never could have anticipated. And as fate would have it, Lori Ann would also become his future wife. From that night on, Todd became determined to uncover the identity of Tent Girl. This drive may have been shaped by his own past. As it turned out, he had a brother and sister who passed away as infants. He knew the pain of losing loved ones in ways that felt unfair and unresolved. He empathized with Tent Girl and believed that she, along with her family, deserved closure and to have whoever did this to her put to justice. Her tragic story lingered in his mind, planting the seeds of an obsession, one that would push him to search for answers, no matter how impossible and pointless it seemed. But how could a young, inexperienced kid take on a mystery that even seasoned investigators failed to solve? With his curiosity piqued, Todd dove into the case head first. He pored over stacks of old newspaper clippings, read through interviews, and wrote down every detail, committing them to memory. Wanting a first-hand account, he turned to his future father-in-law, Wilbur Riddle. Maybe, with a fresh set of eyes, Todd could spot something investigators had missed. During their talks, one particular clue stood out: Tent Girl's age. Reports consistently stated that she was likely in her late teens, but Mr. Riddle, haunted by the image of that night, could swear she looked older than that. Had
Word.
investigators fixated too much on this estimate,
Well, she was decaying. How the
unintentionally
fuck can
narrowing
you
their search?
tell?
It was a thought Todd couldn't shake as he listened to Riddle's account of May 17, 1968. In addition, there was the towel that was found with the body. What at first may have seemed to be an ordinary towel of little to no significance might actually have been the type commonly used as an infant's diaper. Armed with this new detail, Todd shifted his investigation in an entirely new direction. What if Tent Girl wasn't a teenager as originally believed? What if she was actually a mother and an adult woman? Todd pressed on, chasing
Oh,
the truth with the
shit.
relentless hunger of a
Oh,
detective in one of those dime
shit.
store pulp magazines that he read as a kid. But this was the 80s. There was no internet. No easily
That's what I'm
accessible
saying.
digital
Y'all motherfuckers did
database.
not have no
Just
internet.
sweat, persistence, and miles of paperwork to sift through. He tracked every possible thread, linking Tent Girl to other missing persons cases, always with the hope that one would be that crucial piece
Yo.
of the puzzle. And each time,
Shout out this dude. Shout out. That's some serious ass dedication though, like for real. There's really people out there that really goes out their way just to find a missing person. That's crazy. That shit not even your job. You doing this shit for the free ski.
he ended up right where he started, staring at a grave with no name. For the next 10 years,
Yeah.
this became his life, a ritual of obsession, a marathon where the finish line seemed to keep moving further ahead. The frustration gnawed at him, the same thought looping in his mind. I'm close.
Isn't this shit kind of crazy though?
With the truth.
They're literally getting fucking outdone by a random. The entire fucking the entire fucking police department, bro. All the detectives and shit, bro. They're getting outdone by a fucking random.
Was like a puff of smoke, always within arm's reach, yet impossible to hold. It had already put a strain on his marriage due to the piling phone bills and travel expenses. His wife, Lori, could not wrap her head around this obsession that Todd had for this particular case. This frustration, which was understandable, led to regular arguments. Arguments that just got worse as time went
Travel
by.
expenses.
Arguments that Todd himself couldn't even fully justify. But for Todd, this was not an obsession.
I lost $50,000 because I didn't buy a domain
Brother.
name. My advice, head to Wix and grab yours now.
It had become an obligation. But during this time, he made a crucial decision. As much as he felt it was his duty to uncover the truth about Tent Girl's identity, he refused to let his obsession take priority over his loved ones. The countless hours he dedicated to this personal mission were not all for naught, though. Over the years, he transformed from an inexperienced amateur, armed with only determination, into a more methodical and seasoned
Holy bro,
investigator.
look at this fucking build, dog. Yo, I just won. This is actually like pinnacle dad build or some shit. Like I don't even know how you acquire such a build. Like holy double wide, but then his arms don't look too big.
Developing a sharp eye for detail
Crazy.
and a more structured approach to his search. And so, every night, after his family was in bed, he retreated to his makeshift office, poring over every piece of evidence, searching for patterns. He wasn't just looking for clues. He was trying to find the one connection that could finally give his investigation a clear path forward. After a while, Todd felt like he was running in circles. But then, a new tool emerged that changed everything. By the early 1990s, the internet was slowly becoming an integral part of society.
Yahoo.com.
Todd Matthews recognized its potential immediately, not just as a new technology, but as a powerful tool to connect people in an instant, making it easier than ever to share information across vast distances. With email, he could now contact sources faster than ever before. Government agency records were suddenly at his fingertips. Reaching out to media networks was no longer
This is
a slow,
actually some.
tedious process.
Yo, this guy is actually fucking dedicated. How the internet, yo, like this guy is literally a dork when it comes to this crime solving shit. That's crazy. This is true dedication, man. You're spending decades of your life. You're sacrificing your marriage, your mental health, like for one. Like that's crazy.
The
Hey
internet
man,
wasn't
respect.
just changing the way people communicated, it was transforming the way investigations were conducted. And for someone as relentless as Todd, this wasn't just an advantage, it was a game changer. Determined to put this new tool to use, Todd launched TentGirl.com in
Holy
1997.
shit.
The domain is sold now and contains vastly different content, but back then, this is where he compiled every piece of information he had gathered about the case. Every detail, every clue was carefully documented and made available to the public. A decade's worth of investigation, now just a click away for the growing network of like-minded individuals eager to help. Each night, he spent hours reading through messages and working with other internet detectives, searching for that one connection that could finally solve the mystery of Tent Girl's identity. Then, 1 year later, a missing persons listing appeared on his screen, one that stopped him in his tracks. His gut told him to take a closer look. It
Damn.
was an evening like any other for Todd. Once everyone had gone to sleep, he settled into his usual routine, checking emails, scrolling through countless missing persons listings, and scanning for anything that might stand out. His eyes burned from hours of staring at the screen. Dozens of posts blurred together, none matching the keywords he had been searching for. Then, one entry seemed to surface from the depths of his screen, almost as if it had been waiting for him to find it. 3 words stopped him in his tracks.
Holy.
Lexington, 1967.
Oh shit, I was looking at.
The post was by a woman named Rosemary Westbrook. She was searching for her missing sister, Barbara Ann Hackman Taylor. It read, "My sister Barbara has been missing from our family since the latter part of 1967. She has brown hair, brown eyes, is around 5 feet 2 inches tall, and was last seen in the Lexington, Kentucky area. If you have any information, please contact me at the address posted." If he had gone with the original assumption that the tent girl was a teenager, he might have ignored this. But she was marked as 24 at the time she went missing. She was still young, and could have also been a mother. A ripple of excitement surged through Tom. Even before contacting Westbrook, his gut told him this was it. He had finally done it.
Really?
He had finally uncovered the identity of Tent Girl. His hands trembled as he typed a reply, his mind racing faster than his fingers could move. The moment he hit send, a rush of adrenaline overtook him. He shot up from his chair,
What a
nearly
dick,
stumbling in the process, and bolted straight to the bedroom to tell his wife. "Lori, wake up!" he shouted. "I found her!" Todd and Rosemary talked at length about his sister. Together,
That's
they
funny as shit,
meticulously
bro.
compared
It's 4 a.m. I'm not trying to hear this shit again. Looking at us.
every known detail. The height, the hair color, even the cavity on the upper front teeth. Everything matched. But Todd knew better than to get ahead of himself. He and the professional detectives who had worked on the case prior to his involvement had all been here before, hopeful leads that ultimately led nowhere. This time, though, there was another technological game changer: DNA testing, a tool investigators never had back then. If they were right, they were on the verge of solving a 3-decades-old mystery. But if they were wrong, could his resolve withstand another disappointment? Todd helped Rosemary reach out to the Kentucky State Forensic Medical Examiner, but they weren't exactly eager to entertain his request. You have to remember this was the early days of the internet, and if amateur cyber sleuths aren't taken seriously now, they certainly weren't then. But of course, Todd wasn't one to back down, especially not now when he felt they were this close to the truth after spending nearly 2 decades chasing it. With persistence and a growing pile of compelling evidence, Kentucky officials finally began to see it, that this guy might actually be onto something. Investigators exhumed the remains of Tent Girl to conduct a DNA test. Using samples from Rosemary Westbrook herself and from Tent Girl's teeth and bones, forensic examiners meticulously cross-referenced the data, searching for a definitive match that would confirm that she was indeed her sister. But for the next few weeks, Todd Matthews, Rosemary Westbrook, and the investigators could do nothing but wait for the results. And then, on April 26, 1998, nearly 30 years after her body was found, the DNA came back as a match. The Tent Girl finally had a name.
No cap, bro. Y'all did this sketch bad. This sketch looked nothing like her.
She was Rosemary's sister, Barbara Ann Hackman Taylor, born September 12, 1943, in East St. Louis, St. Clair County, Illinois. She was just 24 years old at the time of her death. With the pivotal piece of the puzzle finally in place, one question remained. Who killed Barbara and left her discarded like trash on the side of the road nearly 30 years ago? And why? Now armed with her identity, investigators uncovered multiple key details. Barbara was married to George Earl Taylor, a carnival worker. They also learned that at the time of her disappearance and death, Barbara and George had an 8-month-old daughter. These 2 details alone shed light to 2 other major elements of her case. The green tarp Barbara's body was wrapped in, it was the same type of canvas commonly used in circus tents. The towel found with her remains, it wasn't just any towel,
It was
a cloth
diapers.
diaper. The kind
Yo,
often
her
used for
husband,
infants.
dog. It was her
Everything was
husband. What a
going to fall
fucking
into
sick
place.
clown.
And when it came to a suspect,
What a sick
investigators
clown.
had only one name in mind: George Earl Taylor, her husband. The biggest reason? George never reported his wife missing. Instead, he simply told Barbara's family she had left him for another man. Not only did he fail to search for her, but he was also known for his explosive temper. And the tarp Barbara was found in? It was easily accessible to George through his work at the carnival. Alas, while this theory is quite compelling, the question of who killed Barbara may never be fully answered, and the person responsible will never face justice.
Your job depends
Jesus,
on reliable
dog.
tools. That's why
Y'all
Harbor
keep hitting
Freight
me
is
with the
committed to
ads
offering
like, chill,
quality
y'all know
tools
I'm
to
broke.
pros like yourself.
George Earl Taylor, the prime suspect, died of cancer in October
Oh,
1987,
what?
more than a decade before Barbara was finally identified. And with him gone, so too was the chance for investigators
Aw,
to interrogate
damn,
him
bro.
and press for the truth. The case
was
remains
definitely that dude,
officially
though.
unsolved, but for Barbara's family, at least one mystery was finally put to rest. Her name was returned to her. Her body remains in Georgetown Cemetery, where her tombstone has been changed to add a few crucial details. Barbara Ann Bobby Hackman, September 12, 1943 to December 6, 1967.
That's depressing,
Loving mother,
not gonna lie.
grandmother, and sister. And with that, the mystery of Tent Girl's identity was solved, thanks to the persistence of one Todd Matthews, whose determination led to the discovery of Barbara's identity, which had eluded investigators for close to 30 years. So, what did Todd Matthews do after such a groundbreaking achievement of being the one to solve the internet's first cold case mystery? Unsurprisingly, Todd continued assisting in the investigation of other missing person cases. He helped found the Doe Network, a nonprofit organization comprised of volunteer amateur cyber sleuths who work along with investigators to determine the identity of John and Jane Does, like Barbara Ann Hackman, and help families find missing loved ones. As a pioneer in cyber sleuthing, Todd also worked as a consultant for various film and TV projects, with one of his most notable clients being filmmaker Jerry Bruckheimer. Additionally, he served as the former director of case management and communications for NamUS.gov, the national online database for missing and unidentified persons.
Damn, bro,
On
this guy's a
January
goat.
3rd, 2024, at the age of 53, Todd Matthews passed away at his home in
What?
Livingston, Tennessee. He leaves behind his beloved wife, Lori Ann
What?
Riddle Matthews,
Rest in
and his
peace,
sons,
bro.
Dylan and Devin Matthews.
53,
both of whom
that
have
shit's so
families of their
young.
own,
Rest in peace, a
making Todd
goat.
the grandfather of 2. While Todd may no longer be with us, the impact he made on the online detective community will live on, ensuring his legacy endures for generations to come. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and
That is a
subscribing to our
fucking
channel, as it
goat.
really
Holy
helps us to keep bringing
shit.
more stories.
Yo, rest in peace to the victims and shit like that.